Welcome back to Eye on Foxborough. I'm Karen Guregian. Today, I am thrilled to welcome back former Patriots tight end Christian Fauria, a two-time Super Bowl champion and former teammate of Mike Vrabel, and currently the host of the fabulous Coached to Win podcast. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Good
I'm
morning.
losing my voice already.
Already, a lot of talking. I'm sure there's a lot of talking going on, a lot of conversations. A little tea and a little honey, Karen. You'll be fine.
All right. Well, let's get to the big topic of the day, the Patriots' new coach, Mike Vrabel. You know, um, you were here with him,
Yeah.
and I'm curious, did you fight with him over Brady over who was going to be his red zone guy? Because as we
This
all
is
know,
funny.
Played tight end and what
Yeah.
was like 10 for 10 with
Yeah.
touchdown catches.
Yeah.
Or did
This
you
is
teach him
funny.
everything you knew?
No, this is so funny. It's like since I'm the only tight end who stuck around in the city, Ben Watson left, Daniel Graham left, Cam Clean, all these guys left. I bear the burden of responsibility for either defending Bill's choices or griping about them, by putting him in there. But it was funny because I was like, I would say, hey Ben, they took you off to put him on. So what does that say? I was still on goal line pass plays.
Mm.
Um, no, it was funny. I was thinking about that, and it was always kind of funny, Vrabel would roll in on a Friday just smirking like a cat that ate the canary, knowing that he was gonna possibly steal a touchdown from us just by, going out into the route because you never know. Like first read covered, second read covered, and, here comes the shallow cross who isn't supposed to get the ball. And oh, by the way, it's the linebacker who's got like, eight straight touchdowns and they're still not covering him. Amazing. Um, and then there was a lot of FE, Karen, a lot of FE. And if you don't know what FE means, FE is fake enthusiasm. Yay, we're so happy for you, Mike. Yay, great job. That team win.
Well, I was speaking with Troy Brown yesterday, and he didn't call it FE. He just flat out said, a lot of us want to just punch him in the face.
Yeah, it got to the point where it was like, listen, this is completely out of our control. And I had talked to Mike years ago about this and I was like, listen, dude, you were never the first read ever. Maybe one time you were the first read. So let's not act like you were like, a red zone threat. They just kept just ignoring you, which is I thought was so amazing. But he had a touchdown against the Rams, and it was a corner out. And I remember going, that was a really good catch. It was like one of those things was like, it's a really good catch. The worst thing about it, it just built up his ability to be snarky, condescending, passive aggressive, and just twist the knife. Like the knife was already in our back, and he was able to twist it every time goal line. We'd be like, oh, great, here he comes. He'd be like, hey, boys, what's going on?
In all that snarkiness, could you envision him? Now, this is like 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5. Could you envision him being a head coach?
So it's funny. I've heard a lot of other guys, other teammates of his say the same thing. Like when you're in the league, as long as like I was or some of the other guys were, you kind of understand the mentality that would need to go into coaching. Like you need like certain qualities, certain traits, and he had all of them as a player, you know. And just off the top of my head, like obviously he was very competitive. He was a hard worker. He was a great teammate, loyal teammate. We had a really good bond of guys, and he was a crazy, outgoing personalities, and everybody respected each other. But we would also compete against each other. There was no brother-in-law going on. And the other thing is like he was really intelligent when he came to just understanding Like I know he understood defenses because there's one thing to, hey, know your position. There's another thing knowing like what the defense is trying to do and how they're trying to do it. It's like when I'm on offense, I remember I learned my lesson early in my career, and my coach was like, "Hey, what do you have on this route?" And I just like, I have an out." And he was like, "Why?" And I was like, "Because it says for me to run it out." I didn't really care about what else was going on, but my coach was forcing me to understand the entire concept of the play. Here's what we're doing. Here's why we're doing it. And then you kind of peel the layers back even more. Okay. And let's say you have the same play. Now, what's the situation? Now, who are you playing against? Who's the guy that's covering you? Where did he go to school? If you really want to get like a PhD on football, then you wouldn't just allow yourself to know what your position does. Like I always felt like I never wanted to be caught with my pants down and run a wrong play because I didn't see it correctly. So, and that's circling back to Mike, and those are the traits that Mike has, and and people like he's had so much success as a player and as a coach that I think his words carry weight. They carry weight. So he can address a room and he'll get guys making fun of him. Like I see the video going by. That's all coaches get that. But when it comes down to, put your thinking caps on, they're listening to him.
Mm. We were all listening to him yesterday during his introductory press conference, and the thing I liked about it was that he was, very direct and his plan, you knew it. I mean, he was out there with his plan on how he was going to, build the culture, what his expectations were, what his goals were for this team. And, you know, he's kind of a forceful character, let's say. And it was hard. I mean, I left there kind of, okay, I'm ready to play, coach, kind of thing. Uh, did you
Well,
get,
I saw,
yeah,
did I what?
you watched, right? Yes. Did you
I
watch?
watched, I was in and out of it. I don't digest it as much as you guys do anymore, but I was, I saw some of the clips and that's kind of what I mean. Like, so if the first thing, I will say this first, real proud of them. Like I'm proud of all my friends who I played with who become head coaches, defensive coordinators. I've had a lot of them. It's been funny. Like I have a lot of friends who became head coaches, guys that I played with, and there's always a sense of pride. Like watching Mike walk through the facility as a head coach was like real surreal. It was like, holy cow, man. Like that is unbelievable. Like what an accomplishment. It's an unbelievable accomplishment. So as far as his vision, and that's why I was telling you earlier how different the two press conferences were. So any coach worth anything is going to have a vision of what he wants his team to look like, what he wants their personality to be. That's a big part. How he wants them to think. During he wants, how he wants them. What type of edge does he want them to have? Like that's, and it is always kind of built off of the coach's personality. They're just vibing off what they see and what they're being told. So Vrabel having a vision is not a surprise at all. I mean, I would hope he had a vision. I would like pray that he had a vision, but he obviously does. The hard part now for him is persuading his team to trust him. The hard part is he's got to persuade his team to trust him. He's got to convince them that his vision is the right vision. Like there's a famous video going around of Dan Campbell early on years ago in camp. And he's making these guys do all this stuff that none of them want to do anymore because nobody's ever in pads. He's making them tackle and it's hot. I see Dan Campbell's like pits. They're just sweating and his face is wet, dripping, right? And the guys look all irritated. And he stops the drill. And he's like, listen, I'm doing this for a reason. You have to trust me. You have to trust me. I know what I'm doing. And I promise you it'll pay off. So you sit there as a player and you're like, whatever, dude. It's 4 o'clock, dude. I just want to get in. But once you start seeing the benefits of it, and and you say, okay, I am going to trust them. You know what? I'm going to trust them this time. And you start getting rewarded for it with wins or contracts or personal success off the field, whatever it is. And so I feel like that's the most important thing. Like his ability to convince the team that his vision is worth sacrificing for, being disciplined for, and internally and externally, right? Because the fans have to be a part of it also. And that's a challenge right now. It is a challenge. It's not, we don't need to sugarcoat it. They're devoid of talent on their team, and that team probably feels real beat up, right? Just like we're worthless. Like if this is a college team, they would not be wearing their Letterman's jackets. So he's got a lot of work to do,
Do you,
right?
oh, a lot. Do you feel like he was the right fit? Because I hear a lot of people saying, oh, it's a different NFL. You need an offensive mind to be the head coach, yada, yada, yada. Defensive coaches don't win. Well, the last defensive coach to win a Super Bowl was guess who? Bill.
Bill.
Yeah, Bill Belichick.
Um, I
And
know the stats. It's hard to kind of fight you on this one when the stats kind of say that, but um,
you can fight me.
well, I mean, no, it is what it is. It's like I'll just say this, um, I just want to know the guy knows what the hell he's doing. I just want to make sure the younger players, they don't know anything. They don't know a goddamn thing. They have no clue how it is to be an NFL player and deal with that. They don't know. So the first thing I always wanted to make sure is like I just want to make sure the guy is smart, right? And he's going to put us in positions to succeed. Then it's our job to kind of fulfill it. So not having so I do think absolutely he was the right choice. Absolutely. The Crafts obviously thought he was the right choice. They probably are kicking themselves for not doing it earlier,
Yes,
like this time last year. And whatever, you live, you learn. All of us get a mulligan sometimes, and it's been tough going over there for the last 2 or 3 years, really. And he'll easily win more games than 4. Like I got him at 8, to be honest with you. I got him 4 games above replacement, but um, so I don't even know if I answered your question. I feel like I
you
mumbled
did. You said he
there.
was the right fit. My next
Oh,
question,
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think
I
that it's like if there's other candidates out there, I just don't think they want to like roll the dice again with a guy being a head coach for the first time. I don't think
like
I
Ben
think they want to
Johnson,
take that
Detroit.
part. I think they because Johnson could be a great coach,
You
but
just don't know that.
but he could suck, you
Mm,
know?
mm.
So
So I I believe agree with you. I think he was the right choice, but I think the next thing he has to do that's very important is the offensive coordinator. um, and how he goes about that process and who he brings in to work with Drake Maye, because as we know, the development of Drake Maye is the biggest thing that's going to help lift you out of the dungeon.
yeah, and I would say based on watching him is he's already got a really Drake May that is. He's already got like what it takes to be a good to possibly great NFL quarterback. His makeup is already kind of what you want. He's already wired the right way, I would say. He's really tough. He's real. His teammates like him. He's you can tell he's smart. He's fearless. He just doesn't know how to play the position yet. Is all. He just it's only 1 year, and he didn't play the whole year. So yeah, obviously, the quarterback position for any coach is massively important. Oh, look at all the teams in the playoffs right now. Like, look at what happened to Minnesota. Holy cow, Sam Darnold like just went back to seeing Ghost again. It's hard to watch that game and all the sacks he was giving up. And oh my Lord, it was bad. He just probably lost $20 million in 3 hours.
Yeah, I
Um,
think these teams went back and looked at Bill Belichick's tape, the ghost tapes,
yeah,
on
yeah,
how to make him see ghosts, I guess.
it's horrible. I feel bad for him because he was having such a good year.
He
He had
was.
so much talent around him. He just wet himself at the worst possible time.
Yeah. Um, at the press conference, it also seemed relatively clear that Mike, for now, was on board with working with Elliot Wolf, helping him pick the groceries or picking the groceries. Um, some of us say, is that really what you want to do? Or, I mean, do you care that, they haven't cleaned out the front office too? Or uh, do you have no pro do you think that's not going to be a problem or a factor
Well,
in their success going forward?
I think it goes back to the vision. What type of team do you want? Do you want a physical, tough? You want offensive linemen that are mean and gnarly? Is that what type of team do you want? What type of wide receivers do you want? Do you want shifty, fast guys? Do you want a big back? Like what type of team do you want? And then Mike says, this is the type of guys that I like. Okay. Find me these guys. And now his job, now, I don't know if there's a disconnect. Maybe I misread it. Like you said, you like these type of guys. I gave you 10. None, and then Mike will be like, none of these guys are the guys that I like. What's wrong with you?
Mm,
What are you? I mean, like, you're not hearing me the right way. The one thing I did hear is like the scouts, like all those guys, they do all the hard work. They do all the grunt work. There's the college scouts, there's the pro scouts, and they're going out and they're searching, and they all come back and they say, here are the guys that we're looking for, right? And then Mike says, well, I like this, I like that. So, let's take this guy off the board, find me four more like this, or who do you have? I don't think that that's a negative. I don't know if they can't work together.
mm,
Um, I think when people think of the GM coaching relationship, in some situations, like I'm the GM, here are the players I'm giving you.
mm,
You make it work. And I go, I don't, but this, okay, fine, whatever. I don't have a lot of power. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. I think Mike's not a child. I think but he's not a pushover either.
mm,
So if there's a problem, there's not going to be any misunderstanding on what his position is. And there's not
mm,
going to be any gray area. So you got to come with, a declarative statement, and back it up with the classic, here's why, and
mm,
be ready to explain yourself. And I think that's just being a pro. I don't think that's any different than any other team. That's the type of relationship you need. Like, this is a business first. It's a business first, and it's a game second.
mm. I want to go back to the offensive coordinator selection. Um, there's some concern that, you don't want Drake having to learn a whole new system, for him to keep the progression going or for him to hit the ground running. Um, do you think that will factor or play in at all? Everyone's talking about bringing Josh McDaniels back, but that's a different system. Does he go with somebody closer or even keep Alex Van Pelt? Do you have any thoughts on kind of that continuity for Drake May?
So Van Pelt, I think he's a West Coast offense guy.
Yep.
Um, I played in that offense really easy, verbiage wise, to kind of understand. Long play call. Every person on the roster is told what to do. Every single one. So it's hard for the quarterback because they got to literally spit that whole thing out. Um, Josh's offense is, I would say the verbiage is a little, different than I'm used to. But the play concepts are the same. Like everybody's got the same route progression. They all got the same plays. Like I don't know how many different ways you can run. Like
Mm,
an out and an in and two slants and they all I see them. They all run the same plays. Um, but I think the key is you want to keep him in the same offensive system as long as possible. And whoever Mike hires, eventually if they have success, that guy will be a candidate, just like Arthur Smith was, who was at Tennessee. So I think if you're going to change it, you change it now with the idea that, man, we want to try and keep this thing together, right? And I don't know if it's Van Pelt, but I don't think he's going to be massively behind if they change the offense. I don't think he will.
Mm. Do
Oh, do
you?
you think he will?
It's hard to say. I know some quarterback. Look at Justin Herbert. He's had like four or five different guys, and he's been fine. You know, so it's hard for me to say. But I saw Mac Jones too, who got twisted like a pretzel with all the different three coordinators in 3 years, kind of thing. So I don't know. Maybe
Yeah,
he
but
just
I would
wasn't
also
that
add
good.
what I would add to that. What I would add to that, Karen, is
Yes,
just
Christian.
personality traits that I didn't think meshed.
Mm.
That's I think that's a big part of it. Mac's smart. Mac Jones is smart. I don't think it was the system, learning another system. I don't think so.
Yeah,
I think there,
that's why it was surprising to me because he was smart. I think it was personalities, as you
yeah,
said.
yeah,
Um,
which will torpedo a team or that's why like I was talking to like Dan Roach on Sunday and Mike Reese and I was like, well, the good thing is some of the qualities that I think any coordinator would want. I think Drake May already has. He's super young. He's super moldable. He's so approachable. He's tough. He can obviously throw it. We've seen that. He's fearless. He'll run and he'll do stupid stuff like dumb rookies do. Put his head down and get knocked out like that. Those are the things that they need to teach him, and
mm,
that's just going to come over time. I was like watching like Stafford and just going, wow, man, to be a young player with him as your quarterback, it's just how much fun is it? Because if you're able to kind of pick up and understand what he wants you to do and you understand at a low level coverage and voids and where you can stop and then you get a personal relationship with the quarterback because that's when you're at like elite level. Man, you're sharing a brain. You've run the same play a million times, and you thought it only had one variation, and you found out that it has 10. That's when you're at a next level offensively.
mm.
That, and you'll know it when you see it too. You'll be like, huh, I've seen that play before, and they just freelanced.
If Vrabel calls you up and says, Christian, I want you to be my tight ends coach, what do you say?
Oh my God. You know what? Here's the thing is I would love to be involved in an organization because I like building things. And
Mm,
I like developing players. I like mentoring young athletes, and I like taking the ride with them from undrafted, young, inexperienced to like a pro. That aspect of it, I love. Do I want to be in a small meeting room the size of this office and then stay there till 2 o'clock in the morning?
mm,
No.
mm.
Yeah,
Well,
but I'm right around the corner, Mike. If you need me, just holler at your boy.
well, finally, I do want to talk a little bit about your podcast. Uh,
Sure.
it's called Coach to Win.
Yeah.
And each week you have somebody fascinating on. The last thing you did, I think, was a tribute to Bill McCartney, um,
Yes.
the former Colorado coach.
Yeah,
It was
yeah, yeah,
interesting. It was interesting.
yeah.
Anybody, any other, you can talk about that and tell me if you have any other good things coming up.
It's funny. Jim Boeheim, I think former Syracuse national champion. I think we're gonna release his interview on next Tuesday. He was unbelievable.
Mm.
Um, I mean, we talked for an hour. I didn't even really edit it. He's just got so much knowledge and experience, and it's amazing how these coaches, as much as they're similar, they're all so different. Greg Campy, who was the um, University of Oakland basketball coach, made it out of they beat Kentucky, I think it was last year. Him, Kerry Moore, Harvard women's basketball
Yeah.
coach. It's funny. The one who's been the most popular is
Wait,
Kelly Fingers, who is the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders coach. She has been the most popular. It's crazy. I'm sitting there looking at the
not,
numbers, going,
not
"Wow."
jokes. Pleco wrestling bears, that one wasn't
Yeah,
popular.
yeah, it's like those guys. I tell you what, talking to those old timers is it's so fun because it just there were no rules. They were just just burly men, and they were just doing whatever it took, and they didn't care, and they're smoking at halftime. It's just nuts. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I love it. So,
It looks like
so we
you
got a
are
lot going on, huh?
enjoying doing it, and that's important.
Yeah, I just feel like I learned so much, to be honest with you. Every time it's selfishly, that's one of the reasons why I do it, because I just feel like I'm being educated every time I talk to somebody. I pick something else up that I feel like is relevant, and then I just steal it, and then I act like it's my own.
See,
Yeah.
now you
So,
know my MO. See, I learned too, and I learned a lot
yeah.
from you today, Christian, and I thank you for being a return guest. Thank you.
Oh my God, so much fun. And whenever you need it, not a problem. Just call me and tell Mike I said hello.
I will. Thanks, Christian.
Tell him you need to tell him that he still owes me and high arm tight end videos. Okay, it's a high arm block. He owes me a high arm compilation video. That's what he owes me. I'm still waiting on it.
Well, I'm about to see him shortly, so that'll be the first thing I say to him.
I say it to him like after you talk to everybody else. They'll be like, "What the hell's going on here?" All right,
Thank you.
Karen.
Take
All
care.
right. All right, bye.